Science is truly a wonderful pursuit, but its shadow is scientism, and sometimes one can conflate them, mistakenly believing they are one and the same, when in fact they are polar opposites. Hang out with naive believers long enough, and you can start accepting all sorts of silliness as true, such as when a Christian preacher suggests that he would accept that 2 plus 2 equals 5 if it was written in the Bible, since the Bible cannot be doubted.
If somewhere within the Bible I were to find a passage that said 2 plus 2 equals 5, I wouldn't question what I'm reading in the Bible. I would believe it, accept it as true, and then do my best to work it out and to understand it.
On the other hand, hang out with cynical skeptics long enough, and you could too readily dismiss any form of knowledge, since it doesn't fit into your model of how the universe should operate. A sad but telling example of this kind of resistant mindset can be found in the old Soviet Union, with Trofim Lysenko's adamant rejection of Mendel's genetics, and how politics trumped open-ended science. What we may find convincing and evidential at one age, say 17, may seem quite different at the age of 50. The real culprit here may well be our confused evolutionary history, where our brains are more or less jerry-rigged with not always complementary agendas. While the triune brain analogy may be overused and not altogether accurate, it does provide us with a glimpse of why we behave in such contrarian ways. Employing a metaphor from Star Trek and cribbing Edward O. Wilson's terminology from Consilience, our brain is one confused enterprise indeed. The rational part of ourselves, the cerebral cortex, is Spock or Data-like, where logic and reason holds court, what Wilson calls heartless. The emotional part of ourselves, the midbrain, is Captain Kirk, what Wilson calls heartstrings. And the brute physical part of ourselves, the reptilian brainstem, is Scotty, the engine master, what Wilson calls heartbeats. Granted that the Enterprise metaphor is a bit silly and not altogether accurate, but there's one telling point that holds up. Captain Kirk drives the ship, just as our emotional selves are the driving forces in our own lives. We may wish to be purely logical or Spockian in our views, but the truth is that we are a combinatorial creature with competing forces at play. I think Errol Flynn, the famous movie actor of the 1930s and 40s, and the funny author of My Wicked, Wicked Ways, summed up the human dilemma quite nicely when he opined about himself that he was an octagon of contradictions, which may in itself be no contradiction.